Hello guys, just Goron here and welcome back to another episode of Building the Beekse Bergen. And in today's episode, as I said in the last one, we will be working on the Africa village, more specifically the little petting goat area. And off camera I've already done a bunch of stuff, so let us quickly go over that. So over here we have a little gate, and I've moved the keeper gate, which we had over here at first. I've moved that back here into this little shack, or what's going to become one. I've added some trees over here. They're not actually very accurate, but the trees are kind of protected by mesh fence, and because of that, of course, we can only make it so small because these mesh fences have kind of just slightly under 2 meters. That's like as small as they can get. So I can't really make these any smaller because there's actually supposed to be, I think this tree is supposed to be like a little bit off and then with its own mesh fence, but yeah, this is as small as I can make it, so not sure if we're gonna, I'll probably just keep it like this. Now, just now I've redone the pathing, which is now slightly more messy, but it is an improvement because now we have people were kind of going like this, which I didn't want. People now actually go mostly through it. They kind of cut the corner here, but I'm pretty happy with how the guests behave now. But I did make one mistake, which is tidying up the fence, which was kind of just thrown out there without much thought, because I was just looking at some references and I saw that this fence actually kind of just goes up to these buildings over here, and yeah, so we gotta alter that. And of course this isn't too much work, but yeah, it shows I really should look at my references before I start doing stuff. And if you're completely new to this channel and haven't seen any other of my other videos, you might be wondering why people aren't running away from these doll sheep, and that's because of a little trick that I found out. If you put right tracks underneath a path, guests won't actually become afraid of the animals in there. So yeah, that's a neat little trick that we can use. Now I think I'm gonna go ahead and fix this up. Move this guest gate to also have one over here, and in general just add some more detail. Now what I can actually show you is that I started putting in these little huts, which I really have to think about how I'm gonna tackle these, because I feel like these should be smaller, but at the same time I don't. This one over here I've had to make custom, and I feel like that might be something that I'm gonna have to do for most of them, because it just gives me much more freedom in like allowing me to put windows in them. Oh, that was a bad example. Put windows in them and doorways and stuff like that. So I'll probably make some more custom ones, because like this one I think has to have a door with some items inside that people are supposed to be able to go inside of, and yeah, I can't do that with the way they currently are. Okay, taking more closer looks at things, I think it's time I've already removed a bunch of stuff. I think it's time we nearly start from scratch. So I've got the custom huts now. They don't look that much worse than the actual ones, and we have so much more freedom with these, in the fact that we can now make a door and stuff like that. So I hope you kind of understand why I'm doing that, because it's not really very intuitive, but we have some other issues. So taking closer looks at reference, this road needs to be more over here. This thing needs to be more over here, I think. Something like this. And this is one of the shops. Then over here is what I think is a staff building. And let's just move that a bit more this way. Like so. And yeah, I think that's about right. Now let's take these things and kind of just toss them aside for now, because we're gonna need them, but not quite yet. I'm also going to remove all the pathing. I'm starting to get a hang of it, so it's not like a waste of effort really. But it is a waste that I'm constantly removing it, replacing it, removing it, replacing it. So I'm just gonna remove it for good for now. And deal with that later. So this is kind of the only thing that I want to keep. The rest is all gonna be redone. So let's get rid of the fence. Okay, forget what I said. I'm gonna redo this part as well. Okay then, I've been fiddling around with this area for the past God knows how many minutes, and just when I was about to just give up, I realized that there were some photos that I hadn't organized yet from my last trip. And what do you know, I found the exact photo I need, namely this one, that perfectly shows what this area looks like. But other than that, yeah, it turned out a lot of stuff had to be redone. Pretty much any fence you don't see a log on has been moved and replaced. Now I also started working on this little shack just to give me a better idea of what the reference frame was. We also got a water trough in here, which is pretty cool. And I'm experimenting with different ways of covering up the trees. So yeah, progress is here. The general shape is now right, and now with the new reference photos I'm going to be able to do this properly. So as it turns out, all this stuff I've been fumbling around with is very unnecessary. There is simply a fence like that. God, how hard could it be? I've removed all the paths pretty much up to like over there, because I'm trying to teach myself not to start with placing paths, because I very, very, very often find myself constantly having to redo them, which is of course not good. Now what we're kind of struggling with over here, I have to remove these shops first of all, because I noticed over here that the terrain actually goes up a little, so this entire area needs to be a bit higher. And I noticed the same sort of elevation change in a photo over here, where this path goes up ever so slightly. Over here is the Africa village, the actual real deal. And it is very complex, and I have no idea how I'm going to tackle it, to put it lightly. Let me pull up a photo for you. I think this is a good start. So you can see paths everywhere, different elevations. It goes up, down. Over here it goes down again, so I think we need to be even higher for these parts. But yeah, over here we get more of that square. So here's the ice cream stand. Over here is an aviary, which I've already kind of put in. Now I wonder, I can't really see much of that now, because I'm trying to figure out how the aviaries are, and I have very little to go off of. Over here we can see the gate to the goats, which is a bit more to the left than what I have it, so I'll change that as well. But the main problem here is, as you can see, just tons of different elevations, and we don't have that much space. Alright, I've decided to put in some paths, and I hope this won't completely ruin everything. But we've got this now, and I think we're going to be able to hide this ridge, so that shouldn't be too much of an issue. And over here is a gate for this aviary, which it's probably going to be way too small if we actually put in like a p-file in there, but we'll see. We might be able to somehow... No, we won't be able to hook it up to the other aviaries. But over here, it's going to be a tough challenge to path, but over here is kind of a viewing area for this aviary, so yeah, we'll see how that goes. Everything is about to collapse in on itself, and I'm gonna learn my lesson that I should have never even attempted to do this. I think I'm actually going to shove all of this stuff over just a bit, just gonna give myself a bunch more space, even though they're probably up too close to this path now, but that's something we'll deal with when we get there. I really want this to look nice. Wow, I did not expect any of this to work, but we're getting somewhere. let's see if we're able to put in the ice cream place. I'll be darned, it's actually kind of coming along. Putting the shops back in. We've got an information center on this side. In real life, I'm not sure what's in there because I feel like I've always seen it closed, but according to the app there is a first aid center here, so I put in an information booth. Other than that, we've got a path going along here, along there, and kind of everything filled in. So now it's just a case of hiding the path, and I'm actually super happy with how over here I've managed to transition from the regular path to the elevated one with only a slight change in elevation, which looks just great. And yeah, we are going to sadly have to think of ways to hide. I mean, over here it's easy because there's kind of rocks all over the place, so it's going to be easy to hide the curb, but this side, especially this part, is gonna be a bit more difficult. We might actually, for a large part, be able to do... Okay, can't do 7 meters, but we can do this. So, should we do it over here? I suppose we should just keep that close to there. So that already eliminates part of it. No, we can't do it over there or over here because these are the places where it changes elevation slightly, so you can't add paths to that. But this should be hideable, either some plants or some mulch or something, but we'll think of it. Alright, so a mild struggle. Alright, so a mild struggle. Of course, we knew that was gonna happen the moment I shifted these things into this direction, but I have redone some of this pathing to get this shape all in, and that is it. Now the problem that is going to be occurring here is probably guest flow. People's only way through this place is across these tiny paths, which is not gonna be great, but you know, we'll see how that goes. And we are going to be limiting the number of guests in the park, so it shouldn't be too bad. Okay, so I dare I say I'm becoming a pathing expert. Jesus, man. We are getting stuff done. So as you can tell, I'm really hiding away all of these curbs very quite nicely. It's starting to look a lot like the picture actually, which I could have never guessed we would actually be able to do. The only real struggles I'm having is with this little aviary, which I highly doubt we'll be able to ever get an animal into. Like, that's just off the charts. Like, unless we get actual aviaries added to the game, this is a lost cause. This one, however, we can actually try that in the meantime. So yeah, we can actually see people walking along this this small little path here. That's insane. The way I described it, I will describe this as just, I am doing things with the pathing system that you shouldn't even be trying to do, really. Like, I'm not, if this wouldn't have worked out, I wouldn't be angry at the game. Like, this is not intended. Oh, our P-Fall's coming. Let's see how that goes. He's probably going to hate it. And I'm afraid that the game is going to tell us that the habitat is too small, because it tends to do that. So far so good. It's got 42 square meters. You know, mate, you got more space than the aardvarks do, and they have to share the habitat. I mean, you don't have any objects in here yet. So, oh wait, there it is. Is it saying it? Whoa, what's happening? But yeah, I've got a little viewing area over here. I'm just going to look into the elephant exhibit. And we've got all these small little paths. Now, over here is going to be a bit of a larger seating area where people who buy stuff at these shops will be able to refresh themselves, have a nice bite of wool. You know, our animals may be starving, but you don't have to if you come and buy our food. Now, the last bit of pathing that needs to be done is the little goat habitat. So let's actually take a path and start putting all of that stuff in. Doing this, you always have to be careful that you're actually removing more than you're adding. Like at this point I can place this here, but it actually only creates more of the wooden things, so I'm not gonna do that. I'm actually pretty happy with this. So now we have a walkthrough habitat again. Let's get these things back up there. Actually, should we do that? Because if we do them, we can't edit this again. But I mean, we can always put them back. It's fine. Okay, we are starting to get some of the finer details in, like some flower pots and some leaves, and things are really starting to come alive. We've got actually a viewable, I think this is one of the first in the zoo, actually kind of a functional shop where you can actually see the shopkeeper not being sunken into the ground for once. That's of course a result of both the size of this building, which is actually quite sizable. It's got a nice high ceiling, as well as the fact that of course the path is raised up a bit, so that also helps. But we've got a little menu plate with just some lines. These signs are so small you can't really write anything on them, but we've got these shut off, so most of my reference pictures, these things were closed. Actually, last time I visited the zoo, it was open and you could buy hot dogs here. Is one of the things you could buy, so I put down a hot dog squad. And people are lining up. This one's currently closed because I've been messing about. I've been working with this dry stone brick stuff to create this kind of pattern, which actually looks really nice. I'm really happy with how that is turning out. So yeah, just a case of adding more detail and kind of expanding this. I've made a smaller hut size for these two little huts next to the aviary, which I'm pretty happy with. That's also going to help. Yeah, it's really just a case of adding more detail now, closing up the aviary, getting this stuff all figured out, and then of course expanding to these 4 buildings that still need to be built. I don't think we're going to make this toilet block functional. There's actually over here a new toilet block that's been recently built, which is where we're going to put our toilets. I'm gonna keep an eye on it because I actually feel like since they built the new toilets over here, they might be removing the old one, so who knows. Okay, I should be getting to bed, but let's quickly run through all of the changes so far. So I have been working on the goats a bit more here and there. I've actually managed to make some spaces for them where there's no path, and it looks like that kind of invites them to walk around the exhibit a bit more, because first they were all hanging over here all the time. So I thought, okay, let's create like 1 or 2 more spaces where they can actually chill out, and they are. So that's pretty great. I guess that's one of the downsides of the walkthrough habitat on any animal thing, is that you have to kind of consider. Of course, it's not intended, so there's a couple of things that might not work that I haven't fully found out about yet. So yeah, I feel like it works best if you just have a path going through an exhibit, whereas with this kind of I wanted the entire exhibit to be walkable, and that created some issues, but it seems good now. It all seems good now. Anyway, let's head on over to this place, because you can already see a bunch of changes probably. We've got tables, the flooring has stayed mostly the same, but we've got all these decorations, and boy, these are a lot of work. These can take, I mean, I haven't counted, but these take quite some time, like per building, and we have got so many buildings left. And I can't really copy paste them over because every building has different kind of decorations. This one has these tiles with different shapes. Normally these would be different shapes of animals, but of course we don't really have anything that small. I'm already really proud of this wavy effect, which is a bit messy in some places, but I mean it's made out of all of these. And to my surprise, there is like not a single flamingo. Nothing shows up, which is pretty crazy if you ask me. So I had to make my own, which I mean I'm pretty happy with how these turned out. Like they look very derpy, but I freaking love it. And then over here, of course, we have the ice cream shop. Normally there's the logo of like Ola. I think that's an international brand, right? We don't. It's not just a Dutch thing. But yeah, this is where that logo is. So since we have Cosmic Cow in here, I thought, yeah, we can just put their logo. But this is like the smallest one they have. The other ones are like this freaking big, and I was like, okay, don't need that. Oh, people are actually using the little seats. That's great. Yeah, I put a bench over here, which is not gonna be good for guest flow, but I've got some pretty good memories to this bench, so I had to put it in there. So yeah. Oh no, you also have a great view of the ghost from over here, where there's kind of a little extra fence. Now, in regards to these decorations, I'm probably going to actually close off these buildings again, even though we made the custom ones with the idea in mind that we would be able to go inside of them and have them open up like we have. The problem is that with these decorations I'm doing, I mean, you saw it in here, they stick inside a bit. Especially this room is just a mess of all sorts of shapes. It's almost giving me a headache just looking at it. So yeah, I'm probably going to close these off with some like black art pieces, just like I did over here actually, and that's going to allow us to do the same amount of like detailing, because over here there's like a rhino and some other animals that we have to make custom things for probably. So yeah, that's gonna be gonna take some effort, but I'm really happy with how this is coming along. Like, not only is it looking like what it's supposed to look like, but I'm actually really happy with just it doesn't. I want to say it doesn't look bad, but in a not that I think some of the stuff we built look bad, but because we are recreating stuff, it's so much more difficult to get things, because I'm kind of prioritizing having stuff look like it does in real life over having it look very good. So I often make kind of these decisions that you wouldn't normally make because it's not going to look very well. Like some of these signs, for example, if I choose to make them look a little bit different, then they might look a lot better, but I want them to look like they do in the zoo, so I make them look like I do. And in that sense, the thing I'm doing is quite limiting in creativity, but it's also a challenge in its own right. Like, making stuff like this is not something I would have ever done if it weren't for the fact that I was creating a zoo like this. And this is like, if you did this a little bit more neatly, it would look really good. I mean, it would help if you had a straight wall to do it on. So yeah, I feel like it's pretty inspiring, and if I ever get back to making my own actual zoo, I think I would take a lot of the stuff I used in here to apply it there. Well, anyway, thank you for watching. We have made a great start to the Africa village today, and I'm really excited to see where this will end up once it is finished, probably in an episode or two. We've been making really great progress, so yeah, see you guys next time. Goodbye. I have to remove these shops first of all. Okay.